Well, folks, here we are, Just Car People Things, looking at our Honda S2000. And, you know, it doesn't get driven a lot in the rain anymore, but it's definitely gotten very dirty. And that will happen over the summer. We've got some water spots that have built up on it. Obviously, the windshield is covered in bugs. And there's just a lot of dust on the car. So you can kind of see it here in the sun a little bit. But if you get up close to that paint and you look at this, for example, we've got a good coat of dirt on the car. So we're going to jump in, we're going to back it out, we're going to get it all set up for a quick wash and just show you how we take care of this now almost 21-year-old super fun sports car. So one of the things people don't know about S2000s is they have a kind of an interesting procedure to start them. So you've got your key. You flip the key all the way to the on position, which fires everything up. And then you push the engine start button, which allows you to actually fire the motor up altogether. It's our Bluetooth sync for you there. So, oh, and that's kind of something to get used to too when you have a 4-post lift. So watch your head. Now that we're out of the garage and in position to wash the car, we'll throw the emergency brake on. And once the e-brake is on, you can run the roof in an S2000. This is a power roof. So you'll see it come down. There we go. And you just push down there. Locks the roof. Push down there. Locks the roof. And now we're all sealed up. There we go. All right, onward to washing. All right, well, for those of you who like to cook, we are back with our mise en place all set up here. So we've got our pressure washer, foam cannon, bucket, clean microfibers, wheel bucket, brushes, clean microfibers, wheel cleaner, soap in the buckets, and we are ready to go. So you can get a little bit better impression out here in the sun. We've got a lot of bug buildup on the front of our S2000, a lot of brake dust buildup on our gold wheels. And she is definitely in need of a wash, but we'll step back, let you get a good look at her here. Nice sunny day here. Traffic's a little busy, so sorry about the noise, but that's just how it goes. We'll get to washing here. Let's first thing is we'll want to get our pressure washer fired up and plugged in and all set to go. One tip for using the pressure washer is before you hit the on button here, you start it if you have a gas pressure washer. Go ahead and, one, make sure that this is secure and it's then going to pop out. Two, you're going to want to try to get all the air out of this line. So there's going to be air in there. It's going to make the pump run poorly. And so basically you just sit here for a minute and just kind of cycle it through. You can even throw a little water on the car. Oh, brake dust coming off that. So this will keep the pressure washer from bogging when it's actually running. See right here how it's kind of spitting a little bit? That's all air that was trapped in that hose because the hose didn't have water and it was shut off. Once this stream evens out, we'll be able to go straight to rinsing the car down. But this car is not coated. It doesn't have a ceramic coat on it, but a lot of you guys are going to think it does. I'm OCD about traditional old school Carnauba wax with this car. It really gives it that extra pop with this light blue metallic, the Suzuka blue. And that is something you can just see the water really beating up on it. Windshield's taken some damage recently. We recently caught, finally, I think the last straw, which cracked the windshield, and we'll have to get it replaced here in the next few weeks. And we'll have to kind of go from there on it, but looks like we're pretty much through that air bubble in the line. See, it's bogging still a little bit. There we go. All right, now we got a good pressure stream going. So we'll just get the car wet down, try to remove some of these bugs up front. There it goes. See, another air bubble in that line. You really see the dirt pooling up. Brake dust. And the goal here is just to get as much dust and dirt off the car initially as possible. I always take a little easier on the top, just because you don't want to When you're using this high pressure tip, you want to be very careful around these seals or you'll force water past them into the interior of the vehicle. So go ahead and get it all slicked down here. All right, well, the nice thing about an S2000 is because it's such a small car that doesn't take long to wash. So we're gonna get through this pretty quick. We've got our foam gun here. Always make sure that, see how this isn't fully latched right there? You really gotta make sure that's on there. And one thing I always recommend, over here, safe direction, make sure that it's attached, because, for example, if that little tip goes flying off of the car, it can scratch your paint, dent your paint, dent your panel, so. We'll just come down and give it a good soak down in foam. This is Chemical Guy's Honeydew Snow Foam. It's one of my preferred products for this. I know CG kind of gets a bad rap sometimes, but it is one of the things they make that works really well. And it's relatively reasonably priced. It clocks in around, I don't know, $40 or so a gallon, which I do typically buy my products by the gallon. Amazon's a great source for that. It just tends to be a little bit cheaper. Just come through and give it a nice coat of foam the whole way around. There's probably about 3 to 1 in there between foam, snow foam and water. So you use a lot of soap to do this, but I think the result is really nice. So I really like this too for those particularly soiled areas along that lower edge, wheels, wheel wells, front bumpers where you get a lot of bug strike. Come on. That'll drive you crazy sometimes. So you're gonna see the foam gun start to run out, and you see how we're starting to spit water out. So that's it. So we're just gonna stop right there. Pop that back off. We're all set with the foam gun. These things are about $10. Totally worth it if you have a pressure washer. Worth every penny for $10 to $15. Okay, put that on again. Make sure it's not gonna pop off. We're good to go. So now I'd like to go to the wheels. There we go. This sprayer hasn't really been delivering for me lately. This is a really cheap one. The good ones that to buy are the Zepp ones. You can get them at a Home Depot or a Lowe's or whatever preferred shop you like. Those run about, I don't know, $3 or $4. These were cheapy. I got them on sale and not really happy with them. This is a Chemical Guys or Meguiar's wheel clean. I think it's a Meguiar's wheel cleaning product. I buy it by the gallon. You got your dilutions right here on the label. Makes things really easy for going through. So I don't need a ton of this. Man, really? Not cool. All right, well, we're kicking a little out here. Kind of spitting it. All right, well, that'll have to do. We're gonna remedy that and go grab one of our good Zepp sprayers the next go around here. So, all right. Sometimes I'll use a little bit of this on the exhaust tips as well if they're really dirty. This is probably a little bit different of a pH of cleaner, and so it's going to be a little bit better for your metals. Make sure you're using a all metal safe wheel and tire cleaner. It'll say right on the package like suitable for all wheels. If you don't, and you've got a special coating on your wheels, you got something really unusual, maybe a magnesium or a chrome, it can actually do damage to that finish, and chemically fixing the things you screw up like that are not fun. All right, so we got a good coat on all the wheels, probably using a couple ounces of that. Now we're just gonna come around with our wheel brush and bucket. I like the soft bristle brush. Get in around all your lugs, get into that space there, get your caliper good. This is a really soft bristle, so it's perfect for this. These are pretty complex wheels. I love them to death. These are Advan, a set of Advans, and they're wrapped in Bridgestone RE71R tires. Very sticky, super fun. And the thing I'll mention about these wheels is these are the Science of Speed set. And that means that there's a tuning company that went out and specifically designed a wheel set for the S2000. And the cool thing about that specific design of wheel is that this is about the biggest wheel you can fit with a factory fender. This car's fenders are not rolled. You see a lot of S2000s where this piece is here, is all jacked up. Same thing on the back, because guys are trying to fit extra big wheels and tires. I just don't think that, you get some perks to it. For example, you can rotate your wheels and tires because you can run big the whole way around, like 17x9. It's pretty common on track cars. The only downside I see to it personally is that, you can really ruin the look of the car, and that's not fun if you're going through and spend a lot of time and money and effort making your car look super cool. And I'd rather just keep it a little closer to stock and keep it closer to the stock offsets. So, to each their own. You guys do whatever you want. It's your car. But there's so few really nice S2000s left in the world at this point. I want to keep mine as nice as I can for as long as I can. So we're just going to come through, and these aren't mega dirty, so it's I don't feel too bad about kind of using the same rag on all of them. So these are also gold, which means they're lighter, which in turn means they're going to hide any scratches, swirls, any issues you might have, just with the wheel itself. So I just like to get in there and just make sure it's all extra shiny, extra clean. Clean the caliper up a little bit, just make sure it's nice and popping. I also will often take the large guy there and come through and just do the edge of that fender. Sometimes we'll even get up a little bit behind it. You can see the amount of junk that hides up on that ledge. And when these do eventually start to rust, a lot of Honda products, a lot of vehicles in general, water hangs out right up in here, and you get the dirt. And this is pretty clean, it's never been winter driven, but look at the stuff that's hiding up under that edge, and that can really ruin your day over time. So this isn't driven in the salt, isn't driven in the winter, but if it was, it'd be something I'd be really worried about and really cognizant of. So just keep that in mind for you guys' cars, and if you drive them every day and all that stuff, you got to really make sure you're cleaning those areas, make sure you're protecting them effectively. Nobody wants to have a super cool S2000 that rusts out at 20,000 miles, 30,000 miles, and 25 or 30 years old. So we see it a lot in the Miata world. I'm gonna get the exhaust tips as well. Come underneath in this tray. Do this guy too. I polished those up recently. They were really rough. Actually used some 2500 or 3000 grit sandpaper on them to clean them up. So we'll just come back through and just do a quick mop down on this guy here. I just realized I didn't do the inside of the barrel on the other wheel, so we're going to correct that. These are super clean, so I don't like to ruin them. And okay, just grab a little of that, head back around. The only thing I don't like about this particular wheel woolly, because it's so solid, or it's so stiff, it has a habit of spraying you when you come back to pull it out, and I don't really like that very much. So I might ultimately go to a different wheel woolly product. This thing was pretty cheap and pretty handy, oversized toilet brush. But I have a long-running joke. I spend more time on the wheels than I do on the car, and it's probably because there's just a lot more detail here, right? You got a lot more crevices, a lot more cracks, a lot more to get into, and just take some time to kind of get it right. And you don't want to get it wrong, because when you have really cool gold wheels, they're what everybody looks at, and if it's what everybody's looking at and it looks wrong, you ruin the car. You ruin the whole look. Just come back through and just get that little edge right there. Again, along that edge, whew, a lot of junk hiding up in there. Sometimes I'll reach up and make sure there aren't any big rocks or anything stuck in there. It's got a little bit of mud almost stuck up in there. But come back around, and you can see with the wheel cleaner lifting that the brake dust off. You can see kind of the black there as it piles up. So we'll just come back through. Kind of almost like to just big rinse them with this big mop of a microfiber. You know, you're not really putting any pressure or anything, so you're not really worried about scratching, which is good. So, but you can see here, this brush started off almost clean, and you're pulling probably some grease type stuff off the caliper. So that's how it goes off the wheel. Cycle these brushes, clean them. You can clean them pretty effectively. And we'll just get in there with this guy, whole way around. Last but not least, come through. Okay, made in Japan, flow formed, good stuff. You can see sometimes you'll break loose a little bit of that sand almost. It's like, you know, from a road or from asphalt. You just want to make sure you're not spreading that around the car. That's why you use a different bucket for this than for the paint. So here we go again, a little test. We're good. We're not going to pop the tip of that off. We're just going to knock some of the soap off it, re-wet everything. Get the wheels clean, get the stuff off the wheels. Okay. All right, well, those wheels are looking awful nice. Just gonna come in, take our big microfiber, just really lightly over the paint, just glide. Not much effort at all. Again, this car was pretty clean to start with. We largely got a lot of the stuff off with the dust. And if you're a detailer that follows the, you know, least aggressive to most aggressive ethos, you know, the first do no harm kind of ethos of being a detailer, always recommend going through and starting, you know, just with the lightest touch possible. Don't use a lot of force. You know, this car is 21 years old. It's never been polished to my knowledge, so I want to just try to go through and see what we can do. The sheriff's scoping me out here. I'm probably in trouble. He's probably wondering what that guy's doing with a GoPro on his head, washing a car in his driveway. I always like to get the edges of the mirror caps kind of last. Those tend to take a lot of impact, a lot of bug strike. And just while we're working the top, come through and get the front bumper here, because this is an area that also you can use a little bit more force. Obviously takes a lot of bug strikes, a lot of impacts. You know, if you drive your car on the highway, you don't have a clear bra, it's going to take rock and stone damage. And you just want to make sure you're getting your headlights cleaned and all that good stuff. All right, well, this guy doesn't look too bad, but we'll just work our way down the sides now. Clean microfibers. Usually like to start up on top. Again, the whole goal is to try to get water flowing downward and away from the shiny parts of the car. And you do kind of the rough spots last. So, you know, this is probably one of the dirtiest spots on the car right here. So you're just going to come through and do that little low spot last, the whole way around, whole way through the back of the car. You know, it's an area very below line of people's sight, and you'll probably find that you pick up a lot of your dirt. You can see some right there. And if you got a microscope out and looked at that water is full of sharp, pointy little things, that dirt and grit. And that's what's going to ruin the finish on your car. So just take your time, come through both sides. I'm gonna ball it up there so you don't drag that on the ground, because it's gonna pick up junk. Got a little dirt there, a little axle grease. All right. All right, well, that's pretty much it for the actual wash process. Sometimes I'll save, you know, this soap is not soiled. Same thing with this guy. This is still a clean microfiber. Sometimes I'll use that for another vehicle. I'll just save it. I'll set it aside for a day. It's perfectly good tomorrow to use this to wash another car. Don't waste it. Products are expensive, guys. We're gonna come through and rinse her off. You always want to focus around here. Keep an eye out around here, places that just accumulate soap. A quick back walk back. Man, there we are. All right, well, the car is now nice and clean. We're gonna go grab some clean microfibers to start drying it, show you a little bit about the drying process. So one thing I like to do when I'm drying is come in with my quick detailer. This is an Adams or Meguiar's product. I buy it in bulk. And just, I get the sprayer on this one to work too. There we go. Just lightly dust your drying towels with a little bit of QD. This is just to provide a little extra of that lubrication. You know, if something on here is problematic. So we're gonna use this guy for finish dry. We're gonna use this one just for damp dry. And again, no pressure here. Literally, I mean, nothing to it. The only thing you don't want to do is just not drag this on the ground. You want to avoid that. So otherwise, just take your time with it. Come through and give it a good soak. So you're just trying to pick up as much water as possible by just gliding across the surface of the paint. And she's looking extra shiny today, which is just great. The time of day is good too. It never hurts. So we'll just come through. There's a lot of Harleys around here. Probably true for everywhere. So we'll just, so you can see how helpful this is, having this nice microfiber here to just pick things up as you go. Once in a while, maybe you'll see a bug strike or something. You can use your nail. You can use maybe a little more pressure with the drying microfiber. Sometimes you miss stuff. It happens. Happy little accidents. This isn't the Bob Ross show, but we'll just come through and just try to work our way across, picking up as much of that water as possible. And again, don't drag that on the ground. I almost did there, but you don't want to do that. It's where all the dirt really hides, is the ground. So just go back through. Okay, well, right now, the car's probably 80–90% dry. So right there, just one big microfiber. You see how much water these things can hold as you torque on them. All right. I usually like to do the top last. And I do have chemicals I put on the top. Particularly, I like 303 a lot. 303 is aerospace protectant. That's something I do usually later or the next day, just because this is already pretty wet. And there's not a lot of perk to getting it wetter. So, all right. Well, it's about most of the way there. If you really did a nice job washing, you could probably use this towel once or twice on a couple different cars. No sense in, again, burning through materials, burning through time and effort. If it's easy, you know, just keep it easy. If you look at this towel and say, oh God, man, that thing's really dirty, you know, careful with it. Don't ding up your nice paint. And so I just ruined that because I set it on there and it hit the ground. And once these touch the ground, they pick a bunch of crap up. You can see what just happened there. And this now needs to be washed. So it's gonna go in the pile with the rest of the soiled towels. Now I've got our dry microfiber here. I always pop these off if you can. And this microfiber has been coated in a little bit of that spray detailer. So now we're just coming back through to get that final dry. And sadly, you can see where the windshield's has taken many hits over the years. This is a very low to the ground car, and if you're driving it on the highway much, it's gonna happen. Matter of time. So I'm just gonna come through. I always like to pay special attention to the mirrors, particularly here. Sometimes I'll even take a good deep breath and go. You can use a leaf blower if you have a lawn system. You can use a really fancy product that I don't have called a Master Blaster, which is basically a shop vac, but it'll run in reverse and it'll blow air. I find S2000s accumulate water and even some soap residue a lot around their taillights. So we're just gonna come back through and get the car 99% dry now. This is the last real drying phase. Good there. Yeah, there's the hit that did us in with the windshield that cracked the whole way across. The gravel train. So, all right. So pretty much the whole way around the car. The car looks good. I'm gonna jump down to the wheels now. I won't use this again on the paint unless it's real minor. So this is, you know, just drying the wheels off, making sure I didn't miss any spots with the wheels. And if you did it right with the wheels, you'll pull that away and you won't see a bunch of dirt on there. Sometimes it can be hard. And that's particularly true with like our 1LE Camaro that's parked up there. The 1LE has a really dark wheel set. It's like almost like a black kind of color. And that can be a little bit problematic, so. All right. There we go. And again, just touching this here or there. I'm not going to wipe this on the paint. I might use the back if I see just a little spot of dampness, just like that. You know, sometimes you can just take your fingertip and put it right there, and you see it's siphoning the water. It'll pull the water right out. But now that I've used this on the wheels, don't really want to rub it around a lot on the paint. So this guy is done after this use, unless you're going to dry wheels or maybe use it as a wheel wash towel for next time. See, sometimes you just miss a little bit on the wheels, and that gets picked up right there. So just a couple dots along the bottom. All right. We're getting those lulls in traffic now. It's getting a little later in the day. Okay. A little bit down along here. So, well, there you have it. So we'll have to get cleaned up here, put all our kit away, and clean up our buckets and everything else. But here she is, all freshly washed. One clean 2003 Honda S2000 AP1. Can't tell you what a joy this car is to own. Every time I think, I don't drive it a ton, I don't do this, I don't do that, I drive it, and it's just so good. I can't tell everyone how good these cars are. There's very few people that drive them and say, it's not for me. It's a really fun experience, and there's no substitute for having one that's super clean on a really cool wheel set. And just want to say thanks for tuning in and subscribing, liking. It'd be very much appreciated. Us here at Just Car People Things thrive on validation from all you randoms on the internet. So we have a good time with it. We're really just messing around and get to do cool stuff like this and work on cool cars like this and want to share it with you. So you guys have a great day.